Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of NetSupport Insights. Today we have Josh Stock. He is a middle school English teacher from Santa Fe Middle School, and he's got some exciting things happening in his classroom with using video creation to help engage his students.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
This has been overwhelming. It's been a great experience, but it's a little overwhelming, yes.
So in the classroom, what have you been doing to help get kids more involved and keep them connected with what you're doing with the lessons and the content?
So I try to find any ways to make it practical. So how can what they learn apply to their lives outside of the school? So for example, one of my favorite projects I did is I worked with a local animal shelter, and I had them write out a script where they created an adoption video for some of the animals, and they got so excited about it. And so then we sent those to the animal shelter, and the animal shelter posted it on their Facebook page. So they get this practical application of creating this promotional campaign to try to get these animals adopted.
Yep.
And then they get the reward of every once in a while they'll check the website. Oh no, have they been adopted yet? Have they been adopted yet? So it's been a great experience both for us and the animal shelter.
That's amazing, and they're emotionally invested in those animals and what happens to them.
Yes,
So.
and some of them are upbeat. They're like so excited. The puppies are jumping around. But some of them do like the Sarah McLachlan, like sad. Oh, this puppy just needs to be adopted. So.
The I will remember you,
yes.
like ASPCA style.
Exactly,
oh my gosh.
Exactly.
I love that. Now I know, fellow English teacher, that a lot of times kids are like, why do I have to take an English class? I can speak English. Why do I need this for later? And it sounds like you're really taking like practical application. Like you could be in marketing, you could write content with that. Do you feel like the kids are really connecting the dots together between those two things? Are they really seeing like the future of how they could be using the skills they're getting in your class?
In sixth grade, it takes a little bit more to get them there. Like I have to help them connect the dots, but they start to see it as we do it more and more.
Excuse me, they'll edit this out. The dust in here is killer. Yeah, and I realize that age they're not quite conscientious of like my future life and what I'm going to do. So that's amazing.
However, they all think they're going to be YouTubers, so they can see that practical side to it.
The video content creation, absolutely. Yes. Don't we all think we're going to be YouTubers at some point too? Yeah. So that's amazing. What other projects have you been able to do this year that have been really impactful for your students you've seen make a big difference?
So I really found with my football players especially. So I had a newspaper class. The football players that I had in that class were very excited, but they weren't interested in what we were studying. So I talked to their coach, and I had him send me all of their game footage, and I told them they had to create a script where they talked about do a play-by-play of the actual game footage, and then they had to do a highlight reel at the end. Like they had to explain what happened in the game and kind of like what an actual play-by-play commentary person would do. We also watched a video of Monday Night Football and a behind-the-scenes look at it. So they got that real-world application. And as soon as they started recording videos for their own clips, they were like all over it. They were excited.
But and that is that age. It's all about me.
Right.
How am I involved? How does this benefit me?
Yes.
So that's perfect for middle schoolers especially, which is really good.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you're presenting here at ISTE. Is this your first time presenting, or have you done this before?
I've done it a few times before, but every time is a little bit different. So.
Okay, and this time around, what are you talking about?
So this time around, I've talked about how to get students engaged in creating those videos. And I also give some tips for teachers on what to teach the students before they start creating videos. Things like how to do quality lighting, how to have quality sound design. Don't record outside because the sound's going to be terrible. And then also how to have a steady camera, because especially in middle school, they don't realize that they can't hold the camera steady at all.
They think they've got it and you're like, this is terrible.
Yes.
So.
They get sick watching it because it's shaking all over the place. Yeah.
So you've got those teachers up there who want to do these kind of things, but they don't know the ring lights, they don't know all those things like that. So what would you suggest to kind of help them get started? What are some first steps they can take just to really ease into it?
So I tell them just to get started. The hardest part is creating videos, and And in fact, it's harder for teachers to get over that fact of I'm putting myself on camera than it is for the kids. The kids, a lot of times, are like, yeah, put me on camera, that's cool, whatever. And so I also have them work in groups so that if they're not comfortable in front of the camera, they can be the one holding the camera, and they all kind of find their place. So I always tell teachers, find a project that you're doing that you're having them write something out, and then flip that into a video.
Okay.
All you have to do is, so you have them writing an essay, great, have them write that essay, but then tell them they're going to be recording a video over this. So then tell them it's not an essay, it's a script. Once they start looking at it as a script, it's got a practical application, but it also has that little hook to it.
Yeah, something different than just writing the essay, right. But they can see that it's a full, and then they can see the work. They can see the outcome of what they've actually done.
Right.
That is really cool. Now, do you do any collaboration with other teachers when you're doing these videos? Do you have someone who does media who helps you guys, or have you been doing everything by yourself?
So I usually do it all in my classroom. Now, I do have my kids go out and record other classes sometimes.
Good, okay.
So we worked with our culinary class. They were doing like a cupcake wars thing, and so we did some filming of that. We work with doing a lot of interviews around the school. When new teachers start at our school, my kids go out and interview the new teachers just so people get a feel of who's the new face on the block, and so a lot of those things.
That's amazing, and you're seeing the kids really kind of get involved and be excited about that, and that's the big thing. Is and middle school is the age where they really seem to break away and go, oh, school's boring, it's awful, and they lose it. So anything we can do to keep them connected up is going to be so important. Yep. I love that. Any other top tips or things that could help a teacher want to do something new and fun like this in their classroom?
So the biggest thing I always say is try to have some sort of consistency at your school. So if you're all using one video production tool, just go with it. They're all pretty similar. And so if you're going to do that, come up with something that you're all going to work on together, and then divide up the skills. So like, my language arts teacher, I'm going to work on script writing. Maybe science, they're teaching them a little bit of the editing, or whichever teacher on the team feels comfortable with editing. So if you can work on it as a team and break it up into steps, you can do that first video together. And then once the kids know how to do it, you can do it in a whole bunch of different areas. But just getting that one little piece, that foundational stuff first, will go a long way.
I like that idea of getting everyone involved, and then as they know what to do, then they can start taking ownership and be more responsible. And that's less on you guys to have to do it too, which is awesome. And you mentioned tools. That's a really good point. You have some go-tos, right? So like, what are some things you found to be super helpful when doing these types of projects?
So I don't use a lot of hardware. I tell the kids, record with what you got. Most of the time they're just using their computers to record with. And microphones too. A lot of times they're built-in microphone headphones. Headphones that have the built-in microphone are great. But we usually use Clipchamp because it's Microsoft and it's what they're used to. And then Adobe Express, some kids have used that. CapCut's the one that they use the most for their TikTok videos. So I'm like, okay, if you don't know what to do, have any of you use CapCut? Okay. But what I found is it doesn't really matter what I'm using. There's almost always a handful of kids who make a lot of videos already, and they're the ones, they love being the expert. They're like, I may struggle with language arts, but you want to know how to make a video for TikTok? I got you. And so that, giving them that experience is great.
That's awesome. And again, it's that engagement piece of, hey, maybe I'm not really good at math or science, but I know I can do this, and they're going to be more invested in the content because they want the results that they want to get out of it. That is so stellar, Josh. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And did you already have your session, or is it coming up?
So I had my session this morning.
Awesome. Well, now you can just enjoy the rest of ISTE, which is awesome. Well, thanks, guys, for joining us. And check out what Josh is doing over at Santa Fe Middle School.